Joining us now from Capitol Hill, we have Republican Senator from Alabama and the ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee, Senator Jeff Sessions. Also in Washington, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and associate editor of the Washington Post and MSNBC political analyst, Eugene Robinson, who has quite a piece in the Washington Post this morning.
So, Senator, let's begin with you, and then we'll get to Gene. And let's start with important things first, Senator. Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Roll Tide.
There you go.
Looks like a good year.
We got that out of the way. Now we can go on to less important things. Will our financial systems crash and burn over the next week, Senator, if we don't get this debt deal done?
Well, it certainly needs to be done, and why take a chance with something as important as our national economy? So therefore, I think most of us are willing to accept a good deal less than we'd like to see as part of a beginning to alter our debt course in America. So, no, it'd be too much a risk to suit me.
Are you disappointed, as is John McCain, in what's happening in the House among some Republicans who refuse to pass a debt deal?
Well, I hope they can get it passed, and I believe they should try to, and then there'll have to be some more compromises and work. But I have to admire the new members of the Congress. They were elected in record numbers last fall, and they didn't come here just to do business as usual. They want to actually alter this debt course we're on. The reason we're having a fuss over the debt course is the debt. It's the debt that's really endangering America. The debt ceiling is like the thermometer that says 104 degrees. It tells you you've got a problem, and we've hit it too quickly, and we've gone up too much, too fast, and we've got to bring it under control.
Well, Senator, I certainly agree with you, and we've been talking about this for 15 years, and we've been fighting for this for 15 years. But when these House freshmen and some Republicans in the Senate had an opportunity to knock $4 trillion off the national debt in a grand bargain, they walked away from that deal. Do you think that was a mistake?
I haven't seen that in writing. I know the Gang of Six used that number, but when we studied it out and our budget committee looked at the numbers, we're able to see about $1.2 trillion in spending cuts over 10 years, when the debt's going up $10 trillion over 10 years, and about $1 trillion in tax increases. Some of the plan, so I don't think we've seen a plan on the table that would actually do that. And I've been a big critic of the majority leader in the Senate because we've not even had a budget process. We've had no real bill put forward. The president hasn't spelled out anything yet. In writing, he talks these numbers, but when you read the details, they're not there. And they've avoided accountability. They've avoided having any real votes. And that's a mistake, I think. And it's put us in a position where at the last minute, as I predicted, we'll have all kind of complex legislation and wheeling and dealing in an attempt to avoid a crisis. And we should have dealt with it weeks, months ago.
And you know, Mika, that is the point that Republicans will say repeatedly, and they've got a good point. Democrats have gone hundreds of days without passing a budget through the United States Senate. The president doesn't have a budget. The president doesn't have a plan. Nothing's been put down on paper because they're afraid if they put their plan down on paper, they will be attacked just like Paul Ryan was.
Well, and I believe there probably is a precedent for that, but that is one very good point on the side of the Republicans. Eugene, I'm going to read from your piece this morning. What's the big idea, you ask? Conservatives are on a winning streak because they have a big idea that serves as an animating, motivating, unifying force. It happens to be a very bad idea, but it's better than nothing, which, sadly, is what progressives have. The simplistic big idea that defines today's Republican Party is that taxes are always too high and government spending is always wasteful. There is also an overarching philosophy about the relationship between government and the individual, and some conservatives imagine a return to a Jeffersonian.
Peggy, isn't it interesting that for 2 years, Democrats were criticized for not focusing on jobs? They lost the election. Now Republicans are focusing on debt. And as a Republican, I say, well, we have to focus on debt. But Americans still want Congress and Washington to focus on jobs, and they don't feel like they're doing it.
What I think Americans want is growth. They want to see people take steps that put together a bill that will allow growth to occur. Growth brings jobs, et cetera. That's what they want to see.
Senator?
Well, I think Eugene has touched on something. And that's a big part of this debate, and the reason it's not likely to be compromised away. I believe most Americans are skeptical about the idea that you tax the economy and create government jobs, and this makes America a better place. They're skeptical about a bigger, ever-growing government. They voted strongly last fall not to do that. And so the progressives are having a hard time getting their will imposed, and they should, I think. Because so this is a big debate we're a part of. It's an honest disagreement about the future of the country, and it's being played out to some degree in our effort to balance the budget.
You know, Senator, I certainly agree with that. I think this is an important debate for the country to have. It's exactly what we need to be talking about. We don't need to be talking about it, however, in connection with raising the debt ceiling. You know, and in the final analysis, would you agree that it was a mistake to link this larger, complicated debate, which is going to take a long time for us to have and to settle, to a deadline of August 2nd and financial Armageddon? Wasn't that a mistake?
Well, it could have been a part of the budget process. We haven't had a budget in over 2 years, 800 and something days, and that would have been the opportunity for the American people to really vote and see our representatives, how they respond to their request. So I do think it's not the best place, Eugene, you're right. In fact, I've said that previously. I've never felt you could threaten to not raise the debt limit to get people to do something they wouldn't otherwise do. That's a difficult thing, but it did provide an opportunity for a national discussion. Unfortunately, our discussion is about secret meetings, secret deals, and that kind of thing.
All right, Senator Jeff Sessions, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Sessions.
Thank you.